program is a more than a century old program, initiated in 1905, and it now has 70 countries participating in the program with 16 languages, so not only French and English, but many other languages, with 4,500 students, but not only, because most of the time the candidates need to be enrolled as students, but for Canadians going to France, can be either students or recently graduated. I had candidates, especially within the last 2 years, who graduated 3-4 years ago even, and they were still eligible. And there are about 80 positions for Canadian candidates, and as long as you meet the criteria, you will be almost sure that you will take part in the program, because we have more positions than candidates right now. And the positions to be a teaching assistant are offered in primary and secondary schools only, so not at the university level. So to tell you more about this program, it's seen as a pre-professional experience, because you will assist a teacher. You'll never be alone with the whole class. You will not replace the main teacher, because since it's primarily meant for students, it means that you do not hold the degree yet, and you're not a teacher yet, so you're not replacing the teacher, but you're an assistant, so either assisting the teacher with the whole class or on your own, but with a smaller group, let's say half a group, so 10 to 15 students. I myself had teaching assistants when I was in middle and high school. I had assistants from the UK and also from the US. And I remember it was always fun because it's less academic than the regular class that we had with the English teacher. And it's more cultural activities and knowing more about the country of origin of the assistants. So in my case, it was knowing more about the American culture, British culture. Sometimes we'll go see movies with them. Sometimes we will have like book clubs. It was really a fun way to know more and to also practice our oral skills. Because in France, we have, I would say, more written courses than oral ones. That's why our pronunciation is not always the best. So that's pre-professionalization. Also because the salary, the stipend that you will have does not equal the salary of a teacher. So there are some eligibility criteria to apply to this program. You will need to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, and if you're not, you could check if the program exists in your country of citizenship. So one of the 70 countries participating. And then it's for young people aged between 20 and 35 years old at the start of the contract. Also, one criteria is that you must have completed 2 years of undergraduate studies. So it means that at the time you apply, you must be in your third year of studies. You must have a B1 level minimum in French. That is like intermediate. It's just that we want to make sure that you're not totally lost once you arrive in France and you can get around. And even though you will be teaching English to French students, sometimes they will maybe ask you questions in French, and so you would need to be able to understand them, but you do not need to be completely fluent in French, because one of the goals also with this program is that you are in immersion in a Francophone country in France, and then you also improve your level of French. All study fields are eligible, so I think it's primarily meant for students interested in education, interested in maybe becoming a teacher. That's the ideal application. But if I had candidates who were studying sports and computer sciences this past year, and they were still eligible because they brought their motivation and it made sense, so they were eligible. So that's for the eligibility criteria that you will also find on the website. I will put the address of the website on the last slide. So that's more about the benefits of being a teaching assistant in France. First of all, you could act as an ambassador of English language and Canadian culture. As I was saying, you help French students to improve their confidence in speaking English and to improve their knowledge about Canada. Because when you're in primary or secondary school, you know sometimes nothing about Canada, sometimes a few things, but you can. And also, since they will be young, it will probably very likely mark their minds, and they will remember you, just as I remember the assistants I had. And then it's a way to provide French students with additional support, because sometimes the teacher, he has to run the class and advance with the whole class, but you could potentially help a smaller group of students preparing a test or go back on a specific class that they did not fully understand with their main teacher. So that's about the benefits. And you will also find this type of information on the website called France Canada Culture online. So the applications to this program just opened. If you would be interested to go next October. It just opened now, and it's going to be open until February 20 of next year to be an assistant starting October 1st until April 30. It's always each year the same dates, so October through April of the next year. And it runs every year, so you can apply this year for next year or the year after that, anytime. And there's also the possibility to renew twice. So potentially you could stay 3 years in France as an assistant. So about the positions, as I was saying, it's in primary and secondary schools all across France. So each year the Ministry of Education let us know about the different positions open. So sometimes it works with Academy. So in Academy in France will be the equivalent of a school district, but maybe bigger. So this is the map that you see on the screen. And then let's say you have the Académie de Bordeaux, and you could potentially be placed in a school within the whole academy. That doesn't mean you will be placed in a school in Bordeaux, in the city of Bordeaux itself, but you could be in another department of the academy. So we decide, according to the number of positions offered to Canadians, we decide where we place you. So with your application, you'll be able to make 3 wishes. So you'll be able to place by order of preference the academies you would like to the most would like to go. There's also the French overseas territories that you could apply to. So Guadeloupe, Martinique, and etc. And then you place them. Let's say you place Académie de Bordeaux, and then the Clermont-Ferrand, and then the Lyon by order of preference. And when we do the placements with France Education International and the embassy, we try to fit everyone according to their wishes and then according to the ranking of your application file and your motivation. We will also look at your grades, your last grades. What else can I say? And then once we place you in a specific academy, it's the academy itself that will place you in the specific school or schools. You could be placed in up to 3 schools as long as they're in close location, so within the same city, of course. And that means possibly several levels of education. In your application, you will also be able to state what will be your preference of level, if you'd like to be a teaching assistant in primary school or in secondary. You'll be able to precise that preference that you may have or may not have. And more information about the working conditions. So I was just saying it's always October 1st to April 30. And you will be teaching English to French students for 12 hours per week. So they will leave you plenty of time to travel. That's what teaching assistants do most of the time.
As I was saying, it could be placed in 1 or 2 or 3 schools maximum. And then the salary will be 813 euros per month net. So that's what you get after the deductions for health, mainly healthcare. And that's for 12 hours a week. So it's not a lot, but then it's just proportional to the numbers of hours. And depending on where you live in France, that could fully cover or not your life and your rent. If you live in Paris, that will be, I would say, difficult to only rely on the salary that you will get as a teaching assistant. If you live in another city, a smaller city in France, that will be enough to cover for everything. And then the rest of like the travels and finding an accommodation will be at the expense of the teaching assistant, so you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So this, you're getting a working visa for this one?
Yeah.
And could they have another job on top of being a teaching assistant?
So far, no. That's the immigration rules and everything. We're trying to make those things change because I know that that's what most assistants are asking. It's a good question. So it's a long process, but we're trying to make a change. But so far, as of now, they can have only this job. And also briefly mentions things about this slide, as you will not be the main teacher, but you will always be, you will always have a referent teacher to help you guide the class and assist, and you will not be just thrown into a class just like that out of nowhere. So either you will be under the supervision of the referent teacher, the whole class, or on your own in another classroom next to the main one with a smaller group of students. And then I just listed some examples of the tasks that assistants are doing, but it's not exhaustive. It could be anything else. Like it really depends on the assistant's interest and capabilities, I would say. If the assistant is, for example, pursuing a degree in mathematics, I know that it was the case, then it can really assist on mathematics, but in English, and it could add value to the knowledge that the French students have. But other than that, it will be also to introduce them to Canadian culture, to English oral language, of course, and maybe help them preparing some English tests if sometimes they have some. It could be to animate a book club or movie club, cine club. Anything you could think of and anything you might find an interest in, and also you need to discuss about this with the main teacher, because most of the time the teachers are used to have assistants, and so they already kind of know what they would want for their class, and then they discuss with the assistants. So this is an overall calendar about the application and the selection procedure. So the application is right now from October, mid-October usually, to mid-February, so the 20th this year. There's an application fee of 55 Canadian dollars. Everything is done through a platform. It's quite new. I think it took place 2 years ago. This platform is called Adele. And so you just submit your application files along with motivation, some documents that we ask, so copy of passport, your last transcripts, your last diploma if you obtained, if you already graduated. And then you will also need to have the evaluation of a teacher. So on this platform, the university where you're studying has to register first. That would be Acadia. This is usually this is the French department. Someone, let's say the assistant or the director of the French department, he registers the school's profile, the institution's profile on Adele. Okay, I think I remember actually. And then once it's listed, so Acadia is already listed, you will just need to click that you're part of Acadia or already graduated from Acadia. And then you will need to have a teacher's evaluation. So ask a teacher, former or current teacher, to just assess that you have, according to them, the level of French required, so B1. You do not need to provide an actual test, but just this teacher's evaluation, and they can tell more about also your motivation. Some teachers really made long comments about the motivation of assistants, so it's always good for us to know. And then you submit everything. We usually know in April about the results, so either you were selected or not. So as I was saying, you have high chances of being selected as long as you meet the criteria. And then we let you know in which academy you have been placed. But it's only the academy, so the region, the French region. You will know later about the specific city and school or schools you have been placed to. We had 42 Canadian candidates this year, and they all in France, they all started their contracts on time, and they're happy, at least from the feedback I got so far. So yeah, that's what the platform Adele looks like, and that's the landing page. So you will need to click on language assistant for you in your case to start your application, and it's really not complicated. And there's also some tutorial to help you go through this, and they're all on the France Canada Culture website. I will put the link. I will send this presentation to Chelsea, I think, and then you can have access to it. That's also what it will look like when you will click on apply. This will look like this to create your account and everything. We have a testimony, it's quite old, it has a few years, and I will have new testimonies very soon, but at least it's there on the France Canada Culture website. It's a former Canadian assistant who went to France and was a teaching assistant for a year, if you'd like to watch it. And then that's my email address if you have any questions or if you would like some more information about anything. So this is assistant-langue at ambafrance-ca.org. So that's where you can reach me. And the website was France Canada Culture. And then you'll find a webpage about the teaching language assistant with all the links and all the descriptions. And that's all. Does anyone have questions?
I was wondering if this program could count towards a TESOL practicum.
So what? Sorry.
So for the teaching ESL program that I'm taking, there's a required 10-hour practicum. I was wondering, I'm not sure if you know this, but this program could, if I were to enroll, if I would be able to use this program as my practicum for that. Or would it be a question for TESOL?
That's I think that's a discussion that we will need to have with your department, your faculty. I know that it's something that is currently in process with some universities. I'm thinking still about UBC in Vancouver. They are more and more recognizing this program and giving credits to their students, but some others are not really willing to. So that's really something that I could talk to about to reassure maybe your department and see if they couldn't consider it. I know that when you finish the program, there's a document attesting that you participated in the program, so that you will be able to keep even for your future employers. They might ask for if you had any experience abroad, and that's something that will prove that you had one.
And this would be much more than 10 hours, so I don't see why they wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah,
So we'd like to see that
that's
letter
actually,
go
yeah,
along.
if you want to email me and then give me the name and contact of someone you think in your department would be the ideal person to discuss
Well,
this
I
with.
think TEFL is like English as a second language certification.
Yes.
So that's why I need to first be, yeah.
Yeah, I have to talk to the coordinator. I think.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you can let him know or her know about this program and see if that will fit. And then here if they want to contact me. That's a good idea.
I don't see any other questions in the chat. We'll keep this chat open for a few more minutes, but of course, if folks are interested to follow up, you can contact myself or the folks at Campus Plans, and I'll be following up this presentation to provide the slides that were presented today.
Mhm. I'll send it to you.
Yes. Great. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I hope this answers some of your questions. Feel free to reach out at any time.
Thank you, and have a nice afternoon and evening, and thank you for joining.